Good afternoon and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today lead a SAARC video call on COVID-19. All SAARC heads of government will participate in the conference initiated by the Indian Prime Minister. The only exception being the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. The Pakistan government will be represented by Special Assistant to the Prime Minister for Health, Dr. Zafar Mirza. Now remember, Prime Minister Modi had suggested that the bloc should unite to create an effective strategy. He had invited SAARC leaders to join him in a video conference. The idea is to come up with a coordinated response to the coronavirus outbreak in South Asia. This move is significant for two reasons. Firstly, India is looking beyond its borders to help neighbours in this time of crisis. And secondly, India is rising above differences with Pakistan too, even though there is no improvement in Pakistan's record on terror. Now, this initiative shows geopolitical maturity on India's part. Now, we are joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, as well as Vivek Kaju, the former ambassador to Afghanistan, joining us live. Welcome to you both. I will start with you, Ambassador. This video conference has been hailed by global leaders as an important initiative to combat this global pandemic. What can we expect from this meeting?
Well, as the Prime Minister has himself said, there is need for international and regional cooperation to combat this international crisis, and this is truly an international crisis that impacts on all countries, that impacts on all human beings, and therefore regional cooperation is also required because South Asia has about 20% of the world's population, and given the kind of medical health facilities that are available, it's only appropriate that all countries in South Asia cooperate and coordinate as far as possible their policy responses and the implementation of those policies on the ground.
Absolutely. Siddhant, I will go to you. This meeting is due to start within the hour. What can we expect? Coronavirus obviously knows no borders. All leaders are joining the teleconference, except for obviously Imran Khan, and Mirza will be there in his place. What can we expect from this video teleconference?
Well, Alison, global problems require global solutions, and that is the intent of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi by proposing this idea of the SAARC conference on fighting this crisis, a major crisis. But he's also proposed an idea of G20 countries, a grouping that has come to forefront since the 2008 financial crisis. And just a short while ago, we know that the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison publicly lauded this initiative and said that Australia is willing to join. We know that the ball is in the court of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, given the fact that Saudi Arabia is the chair of this grouping this year. The summit is going to take place in November. But largely, if we look at the Indian efforts from evacuation of not only its people, but also people from other South Asian countries, to providing medical supplies to Maldives, sending a team of medical people like people who can help Maldives contain the crisis. Just on Friday, India has come a long way in terms of providing solutions to this issue, this epidemic, which has killed many people across the world. We know in South Asia, as of now, only 2 cases have been reported of people dying due to this virus, and that too in India, even though the number has crossed above 100 here in India. India has been able to successfully make sure that it doesn't spread, given the fact that India has a large population and the outbreak has happened to in a country which is geographically close to India. India provided all the measures and put in place all the measures, in fact, since January 8th, long before the world woke up to this crisis. And finally, we are seeing India-led solution by these conferences. Do expect the Indian Prime Minister giving strong solutions, strong, hard solution to fight this challenge across the region and across the globe.
Siddhant, thank you. Stay with us. Ambassador, to you, of course, it is wise to have a coordinated response in the region. India has already done a lot in terms of assisting other nations, including Bangladesh, Afghanistan, etc. What are your comments?
No, I think this is part of the Indian tradition and this was also what the Prime Minister said right from 2014 when he assumed office, that he wanted to take all countries of South Asia along with India in times good and times bad. So his call for this video conference is part of that policy. Now, political leadership gives directions, and I expect that after this video conference, the health authorities of the different countries, the immigration authorities of the SAARC countries should also have video conferencing so that they can chalk out as far as possible common measures which the SAARC countries can adopt. Now, this is not a time, to my mind, for finger pointing or for claiming credit. It's a time to cooperate. There are times when we can indulge in normal diplomatic activity, but there are also times when the need of the hour is so emergent and so urgent that those considerations, the normal considerations, need to be put back. And therefore, it would have been appropriate if Imran Khan had joined this conference, notwithstanding whatever Pakistan's views may have been or may be on India. He could have expressed reservations that Pakistan's policies remain, but that this is a true crisis and this requires a political coordination among SAARC leaders, but he has chosen not to do so, and I think it's in the fitness of things that Prime Minister Modi and the other SAARC leaders have overlooked this particular aspect, and therefore Zafar Mirza will be representing Pakistan. So whatever Pakistan has done, so be it. But we must all get together because we are all in one boat, so to speak. We all swim or sink together.
Absolutely. This virus does not know boundaries and borders. On that, with Pakistan's move with Imran Khan not attending the meeting, we don't know what the mandate is of Pakistan's representative, Zafar Mirza. Could this possibly be a hindrance to the containment and the mitigation of this risk in this meeting?
No, you are right. A political leader has the freedom to decide on the spot. Now, Pakistan has a peculiar problem there because their political leader is also, to a certain extent, or to a large extent, under directions of the military. He takes advice from the Pakistan army. So in that sense, even the Pakistan Prime Minister is not a free agent as other SAARC leaders are. But having said that, one also has to know that Zafar Mirza would have been given a brief and he would stick to his brief. So naturally, if Imran Khan was there, he would have the right and the freedom and the flexibility to take decisions on the spot along with other leaders. He would not say, as Zafar Mirza may be forced to say, that he'll revert. But I think this is a time when there is political maturity required, and certainly SAARC leaders should show that in abundance, and so that the competent authorities, the authorities that are really on the ground combating this virus, hoping and trying to ensure that it doesn't spread, come together after this meeting, and there is very urgent requirement for that.
Absolutely. Siddhant, what do you make of the ambassador's comments there on the impact that this could have on the coordinated response?
Well, coordinated response is something that is the main intention of the Indian leadership, but it would have been great if the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan could have joined, because when we will see those pictures at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we will see all the SAARC leaders, but one SAARC leader will be missing, the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. And clearly it looked that Pakistan was caught by a surprise, because for them they thought that the SAARC will be something that the Indian side is not keen on. Its obituary has been written. The Indian side will never talk about SAARC now. We know that India has been focusing on BIMSTEC. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called all the BIMSTEC leaders during his swearing-in ceremony last year in Delhi, and we have seen how New Delhi has been moving away from SAARC, but clearly by bringing SAARC on the table, by talking about a coordinated approach by all the South Asian countries under the SAARC, the Indian leadership has brought SAARC on the table, and Pakistan was in a fix, and that is why they couldn't say no to it, because it's a joint SAARC strategy. They had to say yes to it, but of course not at that leadership level. We know that the response also came through Twitter by the Pakistani foreign ministry spokesperson. In the past, the Indian side has come up with number of SAARC-led proposals, including a SAARC satellite, but we know that Pakistan had its own issues. Pakistan never joined the SAARC satellite project. Ultimately, India went ahead with it, and the project was named or renamed as the South Asian Satellite Project. It was launched, and all the leaders were present through video conference. The second time this video conference is taking place, because the last time the video conference between all the South Asian leaders happened was when the South Asian satellite was launched, but of course Pakistan was missing back then. This time Pakistan is present, but at much lower level. But by and large, India's focus is to provide a regional solution to a major regional problem, and of course a global problem as well, because we know that the Indian Prime Minister has already proposed when it comes to G20, through G20 providing a solution to this pandemic that has killed so many people across the world. But by and large, India's initiative has been under its neighborhood first policy. India in the past, through its neighborhood first policy, has reached out, whether it's to Nepal after the earthquake which happened Maldives just earlier this year. We know that Maldives wanted measles vaccine doses, and within 72 hours of Maldives requesting to the Indian High Commission in Male, India sent all the doses. We know that India has been focusing on connectivity as well, whether it comes to Bangladesh, whether it comes to Nepal, and through Afghanistan also. India has launched its connectivity project through the India-Afghanistan air corridor, but Pakistan remains a stumbling block. They have been saying that they are very keen on SAARC, but we have seen whenever a proposal is put on the table, Pakistan has either showed reluctance or either hasn't fulfilled its commitments. And today also Pakistan is being represented by at a much lower level than by the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, and that visual will have a lot of things to say.
Thanks, Sadan. Stay with us. WION correspondent Mustafa Kazemi is live with us now from Kabul. Good evening to you. We know that this meeting is about to start within the hour. With the meeting, what is Afghanistan hoping for?
Thank you. Afghanistan is health-wise and civil service and public service-wise in a bit of trouble. Lack of resources, lack of budget, lack of personnel is one of the things that has been a worry for the health authorities and the government to fight the COVID-19, especially in the 2 weeks that we have seen the pandemic getting more serious here in Afghanistan. The Afghan government and health authorities are hopeful, as I have spoken to them, that the initiative started by Prime Minister Modi would help them have a quick and urgent strategy to fight COVID-19, as well as getting foreign aid in case of a need. The management and having a sort of administration and a system to fight COVID-19 and prevent the spread of it needs the attention of the SAARC leaders, and that is what Afghanistan has been hoping to have a hand towards them to help them in this. The Afghan government has allocated $25 million to fight and other steps such as prevention and public awareness of COVID-19. But now that this SAARC initiative has been started and is going to help the Afghan government, it is something that the Afghan government and the people, as we have spoken to them, are very happy with it.
Mustafa, thank you. Ambassador, back to you. What do you make of my colleague's comments there on Afghanistan needing the attention of the other SAARC leaders?
Look, as far as Afghanistan is concerned, India has a proud record of offering assistance in line with Afghanistan's requirements and whatever Afghanistan has wanted. And I'm confident that in this case too, along with Afghanistan, other countries that may require Indian expertise by way of testing facilities or by way of medical teams India will be quite willing to dispatch these facilities and teams to do whatever they can to combat this truly global challenge. I can't imagine such a challenge that we faced, that the world has faced for a very long time. Now, as far as Pakistan is concerned, if you permit me a word, yes, I heard Siddhant say about the SAARC satellite, etc. Those the points he made are very valid. I think Pakistan has been dragging its feet, but again, I will underline that this is not a time to recall all those instances. I think maturity demands that we set those aside. There will be a time to recall them, but today is not that time. Today is the time to set them aside and to focus what is the need of 20% of the world's human population. That has to be the focus. And I think that would be uppermost in Prime Minister Modi's mind and the mind of other SAARC leaders. As I submitted to you, it would have been very good if Pakistan was represented by Imran Khan. He could have made whatever reservations he had in a public statement to his people. But this is a thing where we are all, as I submitted to you, and I will repeat this, forgive me for saying this, we are all in the same boat. I don't see we are in different boats, and therefore the boat must have one rudder. It will be preferable if it goes with common consent in one direction.
Absolutely. Over to you, Mustafa. What do you make of this seemingly petty politics by Pakistan, where, as the ambassador has said, surely the focus should be on 20% of the world's population?
Well, yes, to fill in this sentence, Afghanistan also was just until 2-3 days ago, and it still is. We can't say that the political deadlock and the political dilemmas not ending or just stopping and everybody paying attention to coronavirus. But just as the ambassador outlined, this is the time that every other matter, in my opinion, should be put aside because more important than coronavirus, until a few days ago, the Afghan government was dealing with major challenges and there was a possibility of the civil war starting again. But just as the matter of COVID-19 became more serious and the health cooperation became more prioritized for the Afghan government, everything was put aside. And in my opinion, just as the Afghan government did, it is for the better of the 20% of the world's population that we put aside the political differences or needs and other stuff and just concentrate on what we have in hand, because political issues can be resolved later as well. But once we have the damage of coronavirus to an unstoppable level, then there would be no return from it.
Thank you very much. That is Mustafa Kazemi coming to us live from Kabul in Afghanistan, our WION correspondent, and a very big thank you to you, Ambassador Vivek Kaju, joining us live on this broadcast for the latest on the conference that is due to start at 5 p.m.